This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
It is Monday, November 25th at 6:01 p.m. and this is the Affordable and Fair Housing Partnership. Welcome, everyone.
Thanks.
Is there anybody here for public speak? Online or in person?
Hi, I'm not here for public speak, but I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Greta. I'm from Smith College, and it was an assignment for one of my classes to listen in on one of these meetings.
Oh, awesome.
Great.
Welcome.
We'll try to spice it up for you.
Yeah.
So, well, I will say, Greta, we've had students here before and we use a lot of acronyms. So we'll try to be good about explaining what the acronyms are.
And don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah, we're a very informal group, so
Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
all right. I think Kayam is here. And there's Ben.
Time's working out in the forest.
Yes. And Connie's here. Hi, Connie.
Hi.
All right. I think actually we're all here.
Somewhere hot and warm.
Because I don't think Chelsea's coming. So, I don't think we have to wait for public speak, right? We decided
That's
this
right.
last, and if there's nobody here, then we could just move on.
That's true.
So let's move on. Remind myself what else is on the agenda. Oh, the October meeting notes, which I sent this morning.
I'll move to accept those. That's right.
I'll second that. And also then scroll through them for a sec.
Anybody has any?
I wasn't here.
I feel like because we spent most of the time reviewing the zoning report, there's not like tons and tons of notes.
No.
Which is quite helpful when you're,
The notes are in the zoning report.
yeah, writing it at 7:00 in the
Yep.
morning.
Great. Look good to me.
All right, all those in favor to approve the October meeting notes?
Yep.
I wasn't at the meeting.
You can abstain.
Oh, yeah, I meant to
I
abstain.
need to abstain.
I meant to abstain, sorry.
Okay, note taker, do you have that?
I got it.
In the notes? Okay.
I meant to say aye. I was muted. Sorry.
All right, next on the agenda is continued discussion.
Ben, can you hear them? I can't hear you either.
I can hear you though, Kayam.
I can hear Max.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear the both of you, but not the.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Okay.
How about us? Can you hear us?
Oh, yep. Now we can hear you.
Oh, you can hear us now.
Now you can hear us?
Yep.
Okay.
You got it.
Just by Connie coming closer to the laptop,
Oh,
it
yeah.
has been fixed.
Greta heard us before. So.
Yeah,
Yeah,
weird.
that's weird. Okay.
Mhm.
All right, so moving to Kayam. You want me to make you a co-host?
Sure.
Probably be helpful. Hold on. Okay.
All right. So I sent the latest draft to everyone. Sorry for the late notice. I've been traveling, so I was like working on this frantically yesterday and today. But it is, I think, in a really good place. Thank you to everyone who sent some edits. They were very helpful. I went through and like basically accepted all of them. So you'll see most of that reflected in this draft. I would say the notable changes are, I mean, I fixed the address for this letter. The more notable changes are in section 5, I made one additional reference to the Aquifer Protection District. and added a additional recommendation because the current, I didn't realize this until like I was writing the section on the Aquifer Protection District, but it creates a restriction basically that there's no multifamily residential use or duplexes unless it's through the open space residential development plan and also connected to municipal sewer. So along the spirit of the changes that we were making, trying to make it so more affordable housing can be built without the open space residential process of like a whole development, all that stuff, I recommended changing it to just read multifamily residential uses, except those served by the municipal sewer system. And that's as a restriction.
Can you say that again, Kayam?
Yep. So the current Aquifer Protection District.
You're on page 25.
Yes.
Paragraph.
Okay.
Oh, here it is. Okay.
Thank you.
I recommended to modify the section K, which is a restriction, basically not allowing this type of use, multifamily residential uses, except those served by the municipal sewer system.
So you could have a multifamily residential as long as it's served by the municipal sewer system?
Yes, and that's how it was before, but it also required the open space residential development.
You took
So
that
it
part
didn't,
out.
yeah, it didn't allow like a single lot duplex conversion or like a, splitting a lot and building a duplex on one side of it or something like that.
Okay.
There aren't really any more changes in terms of like additional recommendations. I will say I did a lot of work with some data. And this was kind of cool. I was nerding out for the past couple of days because I was able to download all of the parcel level assessor data from the state, which I didn't realize was a thing until fairly recently. But with some of the data analytics stuff that I do for work, I was able to like pull together some graphs and visualizations that show like, the statistics of what this actually looks like. So what I thought was really cool is like in R40 specifically, an overwhelming 88% of residential parcels in the R40 district fall below the required lot size, and 65% are at less than or equal to half the required size.
Wow.
So that I go through all that information for each of the current residential zones.
You can see it bigger on my screen.
I will note that I have like a whole methodology document. Like
Nice.
I coded all of this. So like the outliers, the specific data, like what data points that I like cleaned out are all documented. So I can furnish that as well.
That's amazing.
And I think that that just leads really nicely into like the individual examples that we give.
Yeah.
And Ben provided some additional photos, which were really great. So I included all that here and made them really visible. And then also you're seeing like the design that I made for the headers and just the overall theme. Oh, another change that I made to better reflect the actual spirit of this recommendation. My original idea was to include the R15 district in the R urban new proposed zone. But after looking at the data, I realized that it made a lot more sense to bunch it with the R suburban zone, just based on like what the median lot sizes are. And I think it just makes a lot more sense.
Okay.
And then I updated this to reflect that. And then this is sort of like a little mini impact analysis that shows what these proposed changes would do to that distribution. So these top like sort of header columns show the new proposed zoning, and then under them are like the zones that would be wrapped up into them. And then on the right here, it shows the amount of existing lots that would be brought to conformity. You can see on these histograms, from left to right, you have the proposed R suburban, proposed R urban, proposed R suburban, and proposed R rural. And these show the potential distribution of the proposed zoning types. The red and orange dotted line indicate the current requirement, and then the green represents what it would be if the proposed changes were accepted.
Sorry, is it possible to include like a legend for those so that people know what the different lines signify?
Yeah, the figure caption mentions that.
Oh, okay.
I think the only other additional things in this section, I talked to Greg Nuttleman. I made sure that I was quoting him correctly and he approved. He just wanted me to remove the mention of the Mass Department of Resources. I was able to add a little bit more about the wastewater collection system. I pulled the tie and bond report from 2018 and found some specific statistics, such as the structural defect inspections done using cameras found at least 71% of pipes observed were at least in good and excellent condition. Notably, that was before the storm drain improvements on Cherry Street and the water main replacement on Union Street, and then as well as the investments in the pipeline for the new city neighborhood improvements and water infrastructure improvements on Northampton Street. And then I also mentioned the new sewer system that was put in on the plains in 2007.
Cool. Great.
And then the last bit that I added was this section on the Aquifer Protection District that just like goes into what it is and how it does pose like an additional barrier for developers to do any sort of uses that could be detrimental to the critical water resources. I just thought that was important to include. But other than that, everything is as it was.
It looks amazing.
Chaim, you're amazing.
I know, we're all,
Thank you.
Who's Greg Nuttleman?
he's the DPW.
The DPW.
He is the DPW.
He is.
Director.
Yeah, I mean, I think it looks great. I think it's amazing.
Making us look
Yeah. You're making us look really good. Okay? No, it's great.
Can I?
I will
I-
say Yoshi had some really good comments regarding the affordable, and Lindsay, you mentioned this in our chat about the Affordable Homes Act and how that might create some additional stipulations, specifically around like ADUs. I know that it changed the ordinance for that, and I don't know. I figured it might not be worthwhile to like go back and revise this report to include those changes, but it might be something to bring up like in the conversations with council, because they might want to bring in some ideas regarding the Affordable Homes Act, but I'd be interested to hear what you guys think.
I don't have a specific comment about that. Did you have a question, Donna?
Yeah, Kayam, this is gonna sound kind of stupid, kind of a stupid question.
Only if you don't ask it.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the distribution of lot sizes proposed are urban, suburban, and rural. And you have these three different charts here. If someone from the general public, and I'm still learning some of this stuff. So if someone from the general public, like me, said, what does this mean? Like, how would I explain that to someone in sort of, plain English in terms of how this might impact what the change would mean for their neighborhood or their neighbor's neighborhood?
Yeah, I mean, I think
You use
in the
this.
other places in the report, we sort of like talk about like the goal of this and like what we expect to see, like allow more homeowners to modify their existing property to better fit the needs of those to better fit their needs and those of the community at large. I think where's the,
So this shows that they could probably build a larger home or an ADU, or that they
Ye-
wouldn't need as much lot size.
yeah, and like I will admit, like the histograms are very much to try to satisfy the like planning board, like more of the like people who are worried about the potential impact of this and like are convinced by numbers. And I think that like in a lot of ways we go in depth like narrative wise of like why we're doing this and like the importance of it and what it would look like. But these graphs are like sort of intentionally meant to be very data heavy, or like I guess like for a different audience, if that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
But I think for an average homeowner, I don't know that it actually means, I don't know that there's much of an impact, right? So
None.
if you are in the plains, I think it would mean is that instead of building a $900,000 house on a 1 acre lot, the developer could build 2 houses on that 1 acre lot.
Uh-huh.
And the houses would look like, there's 2 houses going up on Pomeroy Street down the street from me. They would look like the houses across the street
Yeah.
instead of looking like the houses on that one side of the street where all the new houses are. So I think,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like for an average person, to me, it means like new construction in your neighborhood is going to look like the houses that are already there,
Mhm.
not look like the
Because the
houses.
houses that are already there are on smaller lots.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And now don't conform to the zoning
Yeah,
that currently
yeah.
exists.
And so these charts are basically showing how most of those lots are already in that category. And we're just making the zoning requirements
Fit what's already there.
conform to what's already there. That it's not gonna change
Yeah.
what you have in your home.
Yeah, and I would say those histograms, what's important to note is that they don't include vacant lots. So it is only looking at current uses, residential uses. So the histograms are really showing the percentage of non-conforming lots and like
Yeah.
what that. So if you look at the table on page 36,
Yeah.
you can see on the far right, there's like a newly conforming column, and that shows like what lots would be like for the R80 district. That shows the lots that were between 40,000 square feet
Yeah.
and 80,000 square feet. And that
Yeah.
means that all of those 7 lots now are brought within conformity, meaning that by right, they can do some modifications to their property. They could build an ADU, they could modify into a duplex or a multifamily.
I see. Yeah.
Whereas before it was non-conforming and they'd have to go to the ZBA and get either a variance or a special permit.
Okay. Okay. So it gives homeowners, so it would give a particular homeowner might have more options in terms of being able to use their property in the way that they wanted to. And other people could build on smaller lots if they wanted to. You wouldn't have to have like you wouldn't have to purchase a giant lot in order to build your home.
Yeah.
Could I ask, with the histograms, you were saying that it only includes non-vacant lots, non-vacant residential lots? So it
Yes.
doesn't include like, so there's no way of knowing if like there's all this developable land that would be above the threshold that currently exists. I'm just thinking about how people might
Yeah.
interpret the histogram.
Well, from
Yeah,
looking at the data, what I saw was that vacant land was often way above the requirement. So like there were a bunch of lots like in R15 or like R40 that were like 180,000 square feet. And so that lot is going to get, even if it were to be developed into single family homes, it would be subdivided. So it felt like that wasn't data that was useful to this analysis, because
Right,
it doesn't really represent actually the number of lots that would exist would that be developed, if that makes sense.
Right, I'm just thinking about how someone might read the histogram and say, you've only represented the lots that are already developed, and we might have lots of land that would fall above the threshold that you're saying is problematic. But I think the histograms are amazing and really powerful. I just wanted to clarify that so I understood in case that came up anywhere.
Well, and it should, just for clarity's sake, it should probably say that. Does it say that somewhere that I'm missing?
It's in my data documentation, but I don't know if I have like a disclaimer in the actual text.
Yeah, and the other thing I was just thinking, because I'm looking at page 36 with those 3 awesome histograms at the bottom, but maybe label each one, which one is our urban. I mean, it's clear to me because you have them in order, but maybe make sure that you label each one for which district you're representing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of just having it in parentheses, have it above each of the histograms, just for clarity's sake.
Yeah. I'll mess with ggplot a little bit, but yeah, that was the issue was I just like cropped this and.
Yeah, you threw it in there because you wanted to show it off because it's awesome.
And I think that it's a really easy thing to insert the disclaimer, like 88% of non-vacant residential parcels. You just have to like put it in one word, and I think you'd have it covered.
This is amazing, though.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it looks great.
What was the thing? So I want us to chat about, I know we're moving on to the next part at some point about how to present it to the city.
Yeah.
One of the things that I worry about, based on some comments we've gotten already, on page 37, under the water and sewer infrastructure capacity, the first paragraph talks about how many 500 new housing units, which could bring an estimated 1,000 to 1,800 new residents to the city. I want us to figure out a way to talk about the fact that these are already existing people who are, I don't know how to talk about that without people losing their minds about that number, you know?
Well, couldn't we just say, instead of saying, which could bring an estimated new residents to the city, which could house an estimated 1,000 to 1,800 city residents?
Oh,
Yeah,
I love
I
that.
like that.
Yeah.
City residents.
Okay.
Sorry that I did not catch that sooner. It just
No,
It's-
that's a good point.
stuck out to
If we
me
don't
after
know they're
going to
new.
CPA.
Yeah, we don't know they're new.
Right.
No, it's like if you're living with your mom.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yes, please move out. Lunch.
But I think that's really important from the pushback that we
Yes,
get.
that's
is
exactly
people
what I'm
wanting,
saying.
I don't want to leave Easthampton. Okay, well, you don't have to leave Easthampton.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's a spot that you can actually move into.
But also the other pushback that we get, which is we don't want all these new people
Oh,
in our
yes.
community.
Yes.
So-
Even though our population has not grown in 30 years
Right.
or some crazy long time. So it's not
Yeah.
like we actually are,
We're not
not
growing
growing.
population wise at all.
we're not
So-
growing.
No.
No,
we might,
people are
you know.
leaving and some people are leaving and others are coming in.
Mhm.
I mean, you grow up, you leave.
Yeah.
Right, you get old, you
Sometimes.
come back, or
Sometimes.
you move in.
Right.
But some communities actually grow, but Easthampton actually has not grown. So
We
it's,
may, because we're
We
a
may
cool
be-
city.
we
Yeah,
might, I
yeah.
mean, hopefully we do, right? Like growth is good.
Europe is good, yeah.
Losing population is not good.
Right.
We don't actually want to lose population.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
Any other comments or questions for Kayam?
No.
I just want to say I'm sorry that it took me I was 22 days late to the deadline to send my feedback in. So I'm sorry about that.
But you sent
Sorry.
feedback in.
Yeah, I think I sent it.
Better than me.
Yeah.
I missed.
Sorry, sorry.
I did too.
I missed the deadline to get association.
I made the deadline.
Good person.
Well, mine was easy though, because all I was doing was looking for typos and, rewriting something to make it a little more easy to understand. Because the rest of it is all done before I even got involved.
Yeah, no, it's great. Do we want to make a motion to accept?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Before there was a point though that he brought up about the Home Act. Is there anything,
Oh.
you need resolved there, Kayam, about commentary? I think your point was good, that we could just bring that up in spoken comments.
If people ask about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
say this has been in progress for a really long time and it precedes the passage of the Home Act. So there may be other additional reform needs that come from that.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
See somewhere sunny?
Hmm?
See somewhere sunny?
I don't know, Kai, are you somewhere sunny?
I mean, not really here right now, but I'm in Northern California where they just got a torrential, like 1,000-year rainstorm. But it is warm in the house, so that's why I'm I'm wearing a tank top.
It's not warm here, so
No.
that's lucky for you.
Next week, I think.
Okay, yes, you should make a motion.
So I will make a motion to accept the zoning recommendations report with the changes that we discussed briefly. Does that work for people?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that works.
Who wants a second?
Lindsay will second.
All right.
All those in favor?
Yep.
Aye.
Aye.
I don't think you get to vote.
I don't.
Well, you can, because you want to.
No, she has to vote later.
She was just gonna say, I, Connie Denham, approve of your voting.
I support your approval. of the vote.
Excellent. So now, so then our next step is Jackie said last meeting that you were going to show it to Jesse Belcher to me before it goes to city council.
Okay. I haven't done that yet, but I will.
So now that's your job.
I'm sorry, show it to who?
Jesse.
Jesse's the chair of the
Planning board.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you for reminding me that I said that.
It was in the notes.
I know.
That you wrote.
Yes,
I
Connie.
read this morning.
I know I'm not a part of your committee, but if he has suggestions, are you going to want to come back and thus you're just voted to approve with this?
So I think my suggestion is that we present this as is, as what we've made as recommendations. And then changes can happen right through planning board and city council.
Yep.
But we've made our recommendations.
Okay.
Does that seem appropriate?
I
to
love that
everybody?
idea
Okay.
because I think I expect that there will things will change, right? They're not just going to be like, great. So I think it's giving Jesse an early heads up, like, hey, this is coming. But yeah, I don't want to go back and redo it again.
No, because that's on someone else to do. We've made our recommendations. They can take it and do with it as they see fit.
So it's off our desk.
Right, exactly. Yes. Time, it's off your desk.
Well, I'm just gonna make those quick little adding non-vacant and like there's the couple little notes that I made, but I will send like literally tonight. I will send the final PDF.
Okay.
So
Great work, I am.
Yes, and then Connie, what do you need from us?
Style of the charts.
Thank you.
So just just a point of clarification. So technically, I could submit this to city council for the June or
January.
For the December 15th meeting. Do you want to wait until you get some sort of feedback from Jesse before that? Because then I could submit it for the
matters.
first meeting in January.
Let's go. I say we go for the 15th.
So, so I'll need to write a letter and submit this with that. Okay.
And then
But I'll need
Which
Kayam's.
So why does it go through you, Connie, instead of us
She's proposing it as the city council.
as the city council
Connie's
member?
our
You're
We need a
proposing,
sponsor.
sponsor.
you're a sponsor for the report. I understand.
And so it will go on the agenda. And we should be there, but will we get to, what will happen?
So there's a couple things that you could do. One, it's just a new item, so it's just gonna go. But you also could be there to say, we have.
During public speak?
Yeah, during, no, you could do it during, you have,
It's on the agenda.
committee report outs.
Okay.
So I could talk to Omar, because he'll be facilitating that meeting. And you could be there to say, in collaboration with Councilor Denham, we are bringing forth this zoning recommendation report. And then you could say a few things about it. It doesn't have to be the full thing, but just something that you are gonna, or you don't have to do anything and I just submit it but it would probably be good for you to be there. But again, I can also ask him like, how much did you say? How much should, do you want them to be prepared? Et cetera. And then we just vote to move it to ordinance.
And you're the chair of ordinance anyway.
So then it goes to ordinance and ordinance reviews it. So would it be worthwhile to say, these are the things that we looked at that we changed. So we looked at lot sizes is one of the things that you want to look at because we've changed that. We've looked at, I don't know, what somebody named some of the things.
Definitions of family.
Definitions of family.
Yeah.
To just say these
Fair
are,
housing issues.
these
stuff
are the
like
issues
that.
that we have considered and changed. And those are the things you're going to look for when you look at zoning.
That happens at
Recommendations.
ordinance, not during the city council meeting, probably, right?
Yes, but that happens at what, Jackie?
The ordinance subcommittee,
Okay.
rather than at the full
What's the
council.
matter?
So the 15th,
Not a good date.
because of the
Flag.
There's probably gonna be a lot.
Oh,
of
God.
people there.
Oh,
So probably, yeah, well
Really?
then let's wait.
Still?
Oh, my God.
Okay.
Because I think we're gonna,
But it's not the 15th, it's the 18th, right? According to my calendar.
I'm
The
sorry.
15th is a Sunday.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Just
I'm
checking.
thinking
No,
about,
you're fine.
I'm thinking about the 5th. I apologize. So, yes. So you probably don't want it to go to,
On the
I'm sorry, the 4th. So the 18th. So you probably want it to go to.
Yeah,
so we
that's
do
fine.
want to do it the 18th.
Yeah.
Kayam, are you here on the 18th?
Fourth is the flag.
I am.
There'll be people we don't want.
Because you should be the
Others
one
they'll
to
get
talk.
used To it immediately.
It's your
Yeah,
work,
without even knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Talk more
So,
about that
but so
later.
you're around on the 18th?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm in state. I'll have to push something, but this is more important.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
You're fine.
All right, so the flag is happening on the,
December 4th,
I think the flag is happening on the 4th. It's sitting with
Parks.
Parks. Parks really doesn't have standing.
right,
So it's probably gonna get moved to city council.
We're talking about the pond flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Yep.
Are we fighting to keep it up or something?
We'll talk about it off camera.
Yeah. I'm just confused as to why this is new. This
It's
hasn't
moved on the 4th
changed. And
It's, yeah.
No.
All right.
She was,
So December 18th, that's a Wednesday?
yes,
Okay, thank you.
I think she was
Um,
just suggesting we didn't want to do it the same night as the flag
Because
conversation.
there'll be,
There'll be a
really,
bazillion
really
people.
packed.
No, I was just saying, if you're saying it's moved on the 4th, it would be moved to the 18th.
yeah, I'm just saying you should present it on the
Whatever.
18th. Otherwise you're gonna sit there for a long.
Because if it goes before the flag goes before council, it'll get moved to a committee, you're saying.
No. Public speak.
Oh.
Will be very long.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Public speak
So
on the 4th.
Get through public speak and then we get to the rest of the agenda and you're gonna be sitting there for a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then by that
Good
time,
sponsor you are.
Do you think that okay, so public speak will have, well, never mind. Well,
All right, so we're gonna go for the 18th and Kayam can be there, we can all be there.
yeah.
But Kayam, you should be the one to present because it's your work. And
And Ben.
you will,
Well, they did a lot of the work on the.
yes, true, well, both of them, yes. And then you'll find out from Homar, like how much time he really wants us, Kayam, to actually talk about it.
yeah, I probably 10 minutes. I would
Okay.
think.
That's upstairs.
And then, and I will, just logistically speaking, and we can talk about this later too, like I will probably present, but then I will
Defer.
defer to you all to do that, right? So.
When it gets sent to ordinance subcommittee, and I know we talked about this, it will also go to the planning committee,
It will go to
Planning
the
board. Planning board,
the zoning board, planning board,
planning board,
yeah, but the
from out of,
zoning ordinances. But it will go to them
Yep.
from us.
that's what I was
And
asking.
then we will have a joint
Okay.
meeting. So
Okay.
they will review it and do their thing too. And then, but we'll have to, at some point, we will have a joint meeting.
And during that joint meeting, each body will present their reflections recommendations?
I've only been to a couple of these and some of them were, that makes sense. Right, so
It depends, is what you're
It's-
saying.
yeah, it's gonna, I don't think it's we'll present our side, you present your side. I think it's a discussion.
It's a joint,
Yeah.
it's a joint meeting.
It might say, what was your thinking behind this? To which, again, we would have you there to kind of answer some of those questions and things like that. So I
Yeah.
think that would be but it's not I don't think it's not a courtroom. I think it's a
Discussion.
discussion.
Yeah, it's a collaborative
Yeah.
between the two,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they just
Yeah.
vote separately.
Yeah.
Take attendance.
Yeah, but we have to be on the same, they can't vote and say,
Right.
we do this, and we vote and say, well, we do this. It has to be a
cooperative
agreement. It's like Congress, right? But then it's the
No, it's
House.
nothing
and
like
then the
that.
Senate. You have to
It's
come
more
to the
functional,
same
but more functional.
joint- Well, in theory, right, you have to come to the same kind of joint
Yeah.
decisions.
Yeah.
And this would, so it would probably go before ordinance for the first time in January.
Yeah. Well, unless, yeah. Because I don't think we're gonna have a meeting sometime between the 18th and the,
End of the year.
Right.
maybe on the 24th. I'm also
Yeah.
getting my wisdom teeth taken out that day, and then we can have that ordinance meeting.
Lots of
and I
people.
think
First
it'll
night
be
of
fun.
Hanukkah? Are you gonna eat your lot?
Yeah,
straw.
so it'll be the.
Actually, no.
In January.
No straws.
Okay.
Because the other thing that will, but I don't think that would, our committee wouldn't change. We'll have a change in council. Because,
Right.
and so, but I doubt that.
You're not gonna be go off ordinance.
No.
Okay.
Unless.
So, okay.
What does presenting this at that meeting look like in terms of, like, is there a visual aid?
Maybe
Maybe
a PowerPoint that we could share screen and then.
during
everyone
city
can-
council or when we get to ordinance?
Or both.
Both.
Like,
I'd
do we
say-
have a PowerPoint? Do we need to make one?
We'd probably, I mean,
There are parts of this report that you
Yeah.
can just show.
That are easily PowerPointable?
I think if we have 10 minutes, Kayam has 10 minutes to give a overview of the report. I would think a few PowerPoint slides might be helpful.
Yeah.
It feels
And
like
like
the
we
meat-
have the beautiful ones that Ben already made, and then
Yeah.
I can build off of those, add some of the histograms, and yeah.
but it feels like the meat of it really doesn't happen until we get to ordinance.
Okay.
Sorry, correct.
Are we on ordinance?
I'm sorry?
Who else is on ordinance?
Salem and Tamara.
So are
Okay.
we at the ordinance meeting when they discuss that or?
We can. Yeah. You should be there.
We should be there.
Yeah, because we're gonna have to, I would imagine, present it again or really like talk about it there.
You're gonna present, there's gonna be, obviously, I don't think decisions are not gonna be made overnight, right? So in that meeting,
Well, and they
So I think
can't
there's
really
gonna
be.
Hmm?
No, keep going.
well, some
Sorry.
things will be agreed upon, and I think other questions we'll have to like go and explore, what that means, what that looks like. And then, there'll be conversation, there'll be opportunity for them, for members to ask questions.
Yeah.
Members of the public could come in and participate and weigh in and ask their questions. And then at some point, all of that would stop and then
Yeah.
the members would deliberate and then make their decision, but there will be lots of opportunity for people to. And so I would, recommend that the people who are supportive of this, right, you're going to want them to kind of come in and say why this is good and
Yeah.
and I could, there may be developers who are interested in this. There could be any number of people who are. who see this
And
as
at
an
that
element.
meeting, are the planning board members there too, or is that a separate?
Who's who?
Is the planning board at that
Planning will
meeting?
be a separate thing. So when we finish
Yeah,
and we say, okay, these are the recommendations that we're gonna move forward on. So we've gone through, we've
Yeah.
made some edits, we've done this. We vote on it to say this is what we
what do you
want.
think?
We will send it to planning. And then they're kind of, not that they're the, right, city planner, not the city planners, but the people who are focused on that. And the zoning and all of that stuff. So they'll be able to give their input as well. And a lot of them their backgrounds are kind of in.
And so then
Know
what,
what they're
then it
talking
comes,
about.
then it comes back to you, although if everyone's in agreement, it doesn't.
Nope, so then,
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to understand the process.
Yep, so at that point, let's say we get to a place of like, we're all in agreement.
Yeah.
And at that joint meeting, if we're all in agreement, that meeting, because they would have their conversations and everything ahead of time, then they'll take a vote, we'll take a vote, and then the planning board then has to write a report. And then we have to wait for that report to then do that. But because it's a zoning thing, they have 60 days. We only have 60 or 90 days. I think we have 60 or 90 days. So all of that has to be resolved within that period of time, and then it has to go back to council. And then council will present, so the ordinance committee will present. Likely you will be there again as well to be able to talk about why and how and what changes have been made. And then we will, there'll be a public hearing. And then again, members of the public get to weigh in. Yay, nay, why, blah, don't do, please do. And then council will vote.
Mm-hmm. So it's the final, so council has the final vote on whether or not the zoning requirements have changed.
Yep.
And the planning board,
But the planning board also has to be in,
they have to be in agreement.
they have to be in agreement. If the planning board is like, no, then
And it won't go anywhere.
it won't go anywhere. It won't go anywhere.
And I think we should expect that some of these things are not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Right? I think some of the things will get approved and some of them, they're going to be like, no.
Out of your mind.
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
We decided to go big or
Aim for
go
the
home.
stars.
That's right.
But I think the important piece of those things, and we've talked about this, is there's discussion about it.
Right.
Right? And I think that's and maybe it's like, oh, well, actually, I don't agree with that, but what if we did this?
Right.
Mhm.
Or what if we did the other towns are doing X or, Y or whatever, right? So we've, that's a can of worms, right? But you've opened up this opportunity for dialogue, right? It's like, that's not gonna work, but this is what some other communities I've heard are kind of doing, and can we put that in?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, and so do we, as our board, have an opportunity, once the planning board and the city council have made their recommendations, do we then review and say, well, there's another thing that, we're looking at here.
You would be there at that.
We're just there as advocates for ours.
And I think you would be, you would be there also as part of the discussion.
Okay.
Right, to say this was our thinking about this and this is why we did this. Once you've sent it to, you're kind of done, except for the participation in the process.
Right.
And maybe in the process too, you all are like, well, I don't know if I like, then you go find something else and you can still bring that and as part of that discussion, right? I don't think it's like no other ideas are allowed.
Right.
I think it's intended to be a dialogue. Right?
Yeah. So our recommendations are flagging particular issues that we feel no longer fit the community and making recommendations about those issues and bringing it to the attention of the planning board and the city council and the rest of the community at large, should they be interested in that. And going forward from there to either make changes or not. So basically, got it.
We're just shepherds.
For shepherds. The first pass.
Yeah, and then we just
Yeah.
follow along.
But I think the important thing to remember, right, is I offered you all a little bit of feedback from, I think the idea, and I think that Jesse will offer some, of course, feedback.
Yep.
Right? And I think for you to take that feedback and then to be able to say, okay, well, this is why, right? So that you can articulate that reasoning, right? And I think that'll just add to the discussion, right? To the dialogue about that, of like being able to like, oh, well, how do we respond to that then? Or, oh, that's a good point, and here's something else we should be thinking about.
And do you expect that there will be a lot of public participation?
Possibly.
Yeah. I think if,
simply because it's suggesting some changes?
Around housing, specifically around housing.
I think that I mean, again, I think it depends on how closely people are paying attention and if they want to read the lovely report and
Mhm.
are following it. But I think that removing the unit per building restriction, the
Yeah.
parking, community character, the duplex by right, right?
Mhm.
Like all of those things people are
Definition of family.
potentially definition of family, right? Like
Thoughts about them.
I think people will have concerns about that. I mean, I think we have lots of great data and lots of reasons why we're proposing all of those things, but I do think that it could be,
There'll be pushback.
there'll be pushback.
I think I'm gonna kick myself for kind of saying this, right? But I think it's about being able to articulate the benefit
Mhm.
as a property owner, whatever that looks like. And I think in terms of thinking about affordable housing, right? And I think to be able to walk both of those kind of sides of how is this going to be beneficial for a property owner, right? And at the same time, being able to talk about how is this going to allow for our community to help people who have been residents of this community their entire life to be able to also make space for them so that they can stay in this community, right? And so I think it's about how you articulate some of those things that I think people value within this across the spectrum.
And where people are in non-conforming plots right now, did those people have to go to the planning board or the zoning, get zoning variances? I mean, is there an argument to be made that,
If they wanted to build something on their land, yes.
so it wasn't necessarily a change in the zoning requirements requiring greater setbacks and lot sizes that caused the discrepancy in the lot sizes
Yeah, that's
currently?
exactly what.
That is what happened
So
New houses.
for the new
when,
houses.
when other
So those-
zoning changes were made,
Right, so it's not like people will be saying, listen, I had to go to the zoning board, so why shouldn't you?
I think that in terms of how it benefits property owners, as a realtor, I talk with a lot of property owners who are trying to figure out how to stay in their house or like how to have someone else come. And it gives people more flexibility with their property and to be able to have someone else live on their property. So if they're older and their house isn't the right
right size for
format
them.
for them, maybe they can build a small
An ADU.
an ADU for themselves and rent out their house, and then they have a rent, they can subsidize, or they can live multi-generational on their property.
Sure.
Right now, you're very limited
Right, I
by
understand.
what you can do, like, especially, so I think it does offer a lot of benefits for property owners, to stay in place and invite family to live with them comfortably.
So my last question is, Pam's gonna give us the final version tonight, and then once we have the final version, is that something that we can share with other people who we think might be interested and supportive?
I mean,
Or-
theoretically, it's always been public. So
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, you can share the drafts as well, because like it's all technically public information. But I think now it's in a place where it's nice enough to share.
And they can watch your process. if they
The whole
want.
thing.
yep.
I mean, I think the other thing is that, I think everyone agrees that it's too expensive to buy a house in Easthampton. And if you think about this report, it's really not about building affordable housing,
No,
right? It's about making all housing easier to build. And if we think about how do we try to keep our housing prices to
affordable.
more affordable, to not keep going up, the way to do that is to build more houses on smaller lots, right? If you don't have to buy a 1 acre parcel for $200,000, if you're a developer, you have to then build a house
Mhm.
that is
That you can
a
sell for
certain
another-
size and that you can sell for a certain amount of money to make any money.
Right.
So if you can buy a half an acre for, like if we, it
Just
just,
if you could buy an acre and build 2 houses, it's
Right.
affordable
It's-
to build and sell.
you're sell,
You
you're,
can still
you're,
make a profit.
right, you can
and-
still make a profit and your houses don't have to be, I mean, those houses that house on Hendrick Street sold for $1.15 million.
Wow.
It's beautiful, but like, holy moly. And those other ones were 950. And so like, that's where we're headed if we can't figure out a way
Right.
to bring down the cost. And one of the ways of bringing down the cost is to build more units on smaller lots.
And to be honest, that is a really great preface to when you present this to council for the first time.
Yeah.
Where are we actually headed with
Right.
our current zoning? And why is that a disaster for our current Easthampton population? And then
Because people
present.
can't afford it. The only people who can afford it are people who are coming in from New York and Boston and Connecticut and
Yeah, it's
want to
not working
escape.
for us.
Yeah,
And it's
want
not
to
working for
escape.
developers
No,
either.
No, and we're pushing longtime Easthampton residents out of Easthampton. And that should be a concern.
That should be the
So
priority.
a lot of times the
of
argument is about the
presentation.
space that these buildings are taking up.
Right.
But these buildings are taking up a lot of space because of these
Right.
caps.
Right, because you have to build a house a certain size to make enough money to make it all worth it.
Yeah.
You can't build a house for $400,000 if you bought the lot for 2.
Right.
Or like the Tasty Top property, the 18 unit cap is like the reason why they have 12
Yeah.
buildings.
Buildings
Yep.
instead of
Right.
4. Right.
So that becomes the preface for the introduction, the public introduction at the council meeting.
Yeah, I would be like, how did we get here? Right? And this is what the partnership is trying to do. We're trying to change that so that we can keep residents
That what happened here. And
in Easthampton so that we can make housing affordable for people who are first-time home buyers moving out of their parents' home in Easthampton and able to stay in Easthampton. People who are moving from other locations and moving back to Easthampton because this is the city that they love, right? Like,
Okay. It's a compelling I mean, that's, that's good advice.
I was thinking we could name the presentation "Make Easthampton Affordable" again. How does that sound?
Wear red hats.
Could work.
Yeah. Too soon, Ben. It's too soon.
It's too soon.
Yeah.
No, but these are all really good ideas. I really like that, all the kind of line of thinking around the just thinking about current Easthampton residents and kind of the vision that Jenna laid out for. I haven't been to that part of the city lately, but I know there's a lot of larger houses going in there, and it just kind of goes to show you the pattern. That's
And I love my house, but it's, like a tale of 2 streets over there.
yeah.
that's a good narrative too.
The tale of 2 neighborhoods.
Yeah. I think the more narrative
Which side of the street
that
are
you
you
can
on?
provide
Yeah.
in that would be
Big side is
Yeah, the
Wilson.
big side.
Like anecdotal narratives.
I'm sorry. I do love my
Yeah,
house.
I think
But
so.
it's true.
I think
I
telling
would
telling
have
actual
I would have loved it even if it was on half the size.
Yeah, it does make data be
But that's all you could do.
edible.
Maybe you could put in a
make it
an
maybe
ensuite
Yeah.
apartment for your parents or
For my
something.
parents.
Right.
I don't want my
All right,
parents to live in
if
my
we're all
backyard.
talking, the people on the meeting
Sorry.
only hear cacophony.
All right, do we feel like we have a good strategy for the 18th, at least to start?
Yeah, it sounds great. It sounds great. It's so much work. I mean, you guys did all of the work. I did very little, just came in and started to learn, and I'm just amazed at the work that you've all done. And
This
it's
might be our
just-
biggest project.
And it's great. You guys have, it looks beautiful. And it looks beautiful. Yeah.
December meeting date.
Yes, we have to pick the December meeting date because it's would be on
The 26th.
the 26th.
do you want to be before the 18th? The plan.
We might want to meet before the 18th.
I mean, if you get
Good suggestion.
any peanut gallery.
when I tried to book a meeting on this Monday, the third Monday of November, all the meeting rooms were taken. So I don't think we should try for December 16th because I don't think we'll get a meeting room.
How about the 12th? It's a Thursday.
Thursday, December 12th. I could do that. The 12th?
Folks on the line there.
I think so.
I could do the 12th.
I'll be in the Azores. I think the time zone change will, I love you guys at 1 a.m.
That's okay. You don't have to.
Feel like.
I won't.
Well,
all
you
of
know,
us, but not
the
that
Azores.
much.
You will not be there.
Correct.
But as long as you
We have a
quorum, it'll be fine.
Can you make it, Donna?
I think so, yep.
Chaim and Ben, can you both make it?
Yep.
Yes.
What's the date? December 12th.
Five, 6. All right, if 6 of us can make it, then we should be good.
I could come the 16th, but you're not offering that.
6 p.m. you said?
Yeah. I just think they're gonna tell me.
Do what?
The Monday, the 16th.
Oh,
I could try for that, but I
Can I just make it? I would try for that.
try for the 16th.
mm-hmm.
All right, I'll try for the 16th, and if not, the 12th is our backup.
Okay.
Can you do the 16th,
So
Kaya?
there might not be.
Wait, sorry, what specific date?
Monday, the 16th.
Yep, I can do that.
But I'm gonna hold it.
Ben, can you do the 16th?
Yes, I believe so.
All right, so I'll try for the 16th, and if I can't get a room, then I'll try for the 12th.
And I already put this December 18th on my calendar.
December
Would it help
18th is city council.
If I send calendar invites to other people.
And city council's at 6.
There's still an online option for that too, right?
Yes, until something 2025 by mandate of the governor.
I have heard, so speaking of December meeting dates, so, Peter Serafino from Home City Housing, who's the partner for 11 Ferry Street with Mike Michon, wants to come back and update the partnership on
Oh,
what's
great.
happening. They did apply, through the 3 county COC for some HUD funding. We will not know about that till January at least, but, I think he just wants to give everybody an update on like where they are and what's happening. So I can offer him the December date.
When we
And
know it.
then when we know it, and then January, our regular January meeting is January 23rd. That I assume works for everybody.
I think I'll be in Hawaii.
Well,
Wow.
geez, Donna. That sounds lovely.
I think I'll still be there then. I'm there for-
I think I'm going with Donna.
Yeah.
I'll be with Donna.
I'm going too, apparently with Donna.
Yeah.
I think it's a
We can just hold our meeting in
field trip
Hawaii.
to
Come there.
explore. We're doing quantitative
I've never
data
been, so it'll be
on affordable
That's
housing
great.
in Hawaii.
That's exciting.
There's a study.
I love Mondays as meeting day.
But otherwise the 23rd is okay for everybody else. I don't want to, assuming they don't just
Sure.
move it. The following week, I'm going to New Orleans for work, so I can't do it.
Bummer.
That'll be fun.
I know, I've never been to New Orleans.
Yeah, it's a great city.
Okay.
I wanted to look and see, I want to just bring to folks' attention, since we're talking about meetings.
Yes.
I want to see when the next CPA committee meeting is.
Other items.
Yeah, this is another one. So Chaim and I both went to the CPA meeting last week where Sierra Vista, also known as the Tasty Top project, was presented for, they were making a request of the CPA for $100,000 to support development. They're building that project in 4 phases. The first phase will contain 36 units of affordable housing. So their first 2 buildings, they're planning like 201 units of affordable housing, period. They know at least the first 2 buildings would be affordable housing. So they're asking for $100,000 from the CPA committee as a way to show Easthampton support for that project. This is a very common thing that developers do when they're building affordable housing.
In fact, it's like kind of required by the state in order to. get
Yeah,
financing.
the state really wants buy-in from the community, like figuratively and monetarily. And it's actually a pretty, compared to other requests, it's a pretty low price tag that they're asking for. But there were some folks at that last meeting who spoke against it. I thought that I couldn't tell when I walked in the room how many of those people were there to speak against the project. Most of them were there for pickleball because that was on the TPA agenda as well. So that was good. But I think that, yeah, in the skate park, I know that they're going to come back. They were asked, they didn't vote on the request that night. So they're going to come back in December again.
It's the 19th, I think.
I was just gonna look
Email
and
that you had
see.
sent us before.
Yeah, and if you want to see the application, it is on the, I'll just email it to everybody right now because I'm looking at it. But the document is there, so I'll send it to all of us.
And they have not gotten any CPA money so far. So this is their
Correct.
first request for CPA
And I
money.
think they're planning for it to be their only request. Our Smith friend left the meeting.
I think they did mention wanting to come back for other phases.
So I think they're saying they're having other phases, but I don't know. We can read what they requested, but I might have understood it wrong, but I did not hear that they were going to come back for other requests, but maybe they will.
I mean, it sounded like they're trying to do as many affordable units as possible in this first phase. And then they were like, hopefully the next phase, we want to do the same thing, like go above our plans with a number of affordable units. And I think like part of that was implicit that they were going to come back for more.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think they said it, but I don't,
It's possible
I
that
don't
they said it and I misunderstood.
Well,
what
we
they
could
said.
also email Frank in between. I mean, I could email him.
Frank,
He's the developer. Was he the one who was there?
so Peter Graham did all the talking.
So I could email Peter Graham and just say, can you clarify? Are you going to come back for each phase?
Might say it in here.
Here's the engineer guy.
He's the consultant member who did the presentation, and we were all like, what's happening? It was so in the weeds. I'm like,
Yeah, and he, you know,
syndicating.
I will say,
Stop using the word syndicating.
I walked out and they were behind me. Peter and what's his name again?
Frank is the.
So I
owner.
walked out and they were behind me and they were like explaining to me why it should, and I was like, you know, you're preaching to the wrong choir. I already know what you're saying, but I felt like Peter, basically what they said was like, or at least my interpretation of it was, we're not even going to try and appease the people who are against this.
Right.
Because it's not worth trying to educate them because they won't hear it. So that was how I interpreted what I think he was saying.
They were fairly upfront during the entire zoning process that they were happy to do as many affordable units as possible because the market really doesn't support the market rate units. Like the market, the way that the tax credit rents are set, it basically is the Easthampton market.
Yeah.
And so to try to have a lot of units that have higher rents than that, they felt like they wouldn't really be able to rent them. And so they might as well just do as many tax credit units as possible because then they get the operating money for it. It's kind of the way that they presented it. So, which I think is confusing. Like, you know, it sort of feels like but because it's such a long, it's a 10-year project, right? It's phased over so many years that they were fairly non-committal about the entire affordable mix, except the fact that they had to meet the requirement that was set by the zoning. But they said that they would go over.
And that requirement was the 36.
I thought it was 54.
So it's a quarter of them. A quarter of the units because of the zoning are supposed, right? Or is it 10%? I don't remember.
It's a minimum 15%, I think.
Thank you.
Yes.
So as long as they meet that threshold for each phase of the building, they're still in compliance. And they can still.
Yeah.
I think it was
But
total.
their concern is they would like to do more.
Yeah.
But the unit cap and
Yeah,
the
so it's-
sizing caps are screwing them up.
Right. So 15% of their 201 units is 30, and they're already proposing more than that.
36. Yeah.
So
I thought they originally proposed 54 in the original.
I think they're still trying to figure it out as they go, but this is in phase one. I'm
I
just,
do remember that there were like two different numbers that I was always kind of
yes,
confused between.
yep.
Yeah, because one is their like the plan that they submitted, and that's the one that like a lot of the opposition are using. Like they're saying they're only going to build 36 affordable units. Why are we giving them $100,000? But from what I've heard from Peter Graham and the developer, it sounds like they're planning on building like 100 plus over the course of the project.
So it
But-
says
Out of how many units total over?
201,
201.
I think, or whatever is divisible by 18 units per
That's-
building. But they're having some of the
50%.
buildings with either retail, commercial on the bottom floor and then housing
right.
above. So permitting requires 37 of the units to be affordable to 80% AMI. The sponsor is pursuing multiple phases of low-income tax credit, affordable housing using income averaging to satisfy the market demand. This is in what I just sent everybody, just so you know. It is in there. There will be 202 units of housing in 11 three-story buildings. 9 of the buildings will have 11 units as limited by town zoning. One building in the smart growth overlay district includes 26 units, and one building includes mixed use with 14 units over commercial space. So this application applies to phase one. The first phase includes 36 units of affordable housing and 2-unit buildings. A large community garden will be constructed. I'm just skimming. Yeah, so CPA request for phase one. But it doesn't say, so there will be more phases, but it doesn't clarify whether they're planning to come back, at least not that I've seen yet. But I just sent it to everybody so we can kind of read it beforehand. And we said, when is that?
Next December 19th. That was in the email. That was the email that you sent
Okay,
forwarded.
right. The email that I forwarded.
Yeah.
December 19th.
Mhm.
It's a busy
So
week.
it's a very busy week, but it would be great if some folks can go to that.
I can. What day is it?
It's a Thursday and they meet at 6, maybe?
6:30.
Well, I will look. That's what I was looking for.
On the calendar.
Yeah, I was looking on the calendar to try and figure out.
I have the calendar open or
Yeah, that's when I had it open and then I can't find. what
Yeah,
I did
go to
with it.
December 19th. Yeah, there it is, 6:30.
6:30. Yep. Okay. All right.
Ryan, will you ask the Housing Coalition folks to go to that too? Is that possible?
Yeah,
Thanks.
I mean, the Housing Coalition folks is like at this point just a couple of people that I can hopefully get to show up, but
I think Gwen Morrissey will go. She didn't know it was happening. I texted her from the meeting, but I'll let her know about it this next time. And Tom Brown would probably go too.
Yep.
He's the former president of Easthampton Savings Bank, and he's very much in favor of this project too. All right, that goes under other items.
And I have one other item as well.
Okay.
So I went to a public meeting to discuss the proposed cleanup project at the Ferry Street project.
Sorry,
Okay.
to discuss what?
The cleanup at the Ferry Street project.
Okay.
So that was West Mass and Mike Michonne. I think there was one other person there who sorry, I don't remember. And I was the only person that attended the public hearing. It was all virtual. But I received from Sean O'Donnell, Sean O'Donnell was the guy from West Mass, Community Development and Planning Coordinator at West Mass. So West Mass is, maybe you guys know this already, I did not know this, but West Mass is leasing the property at Ferry Street to develop the property there. And they have an application for funds from the EPA to do the cleanup project.
Which parcel is it?
So there's a couple of different parcels, and I was a little bit confused, but there's 3 different buildings. And he sent me, after the meeting, he sent me the PowerPoint that he was using that had the pictures, and I can send that to people if they're, you know, if you're interested in it. But what happened, it sounds like what happened was they started to do the tear downs of the buildings to advance the project, and they found
A lot of stuff.
arsenic, arsenic.
But it's, I'm
a
just,
couple
sorry,
of
this
other
is this is 11 Ferry Street, or this is the 1 Ferry Street building in
She
the.
said Mike Michon.
It's the Ferry Street, here, hold on one. If
I'm
you
just curious, like what, because there's so many parcels in there, that's what I'm just curious.
Yeah, so it was, I think it was building number 7, the pump house, building number 7. And one other is, I believe the other one is the small building, kind of right on the street there. That's about a 40 square foot building. So yeah. Site 1 is the boiler house. Site 2 is the turbine building, and site 3 is building 7, the cement block annex. So it's all 7 Ferry Street.
You said 7 Ferry Street?
Yeah, it's all 7. I'm looking at it now. So they're asking for
Thanks, Ben.
$2 million for the multiple site cleanup, for mediation and redevelopment of the brownfield site, submitted by West Mass Area Development Corporation. And they said, as we were we were kind of chatting a little bit, he said, oh, and at some point I said I was there as a citizen, but I also served on Fair and Affordable Housing Partnership. And he asked, oh, do you want to be a partner with us? I said, well, I can't really answer that question, but I'll let people know that you've asked. So I don't think that's our role. I think our role is just to,
Are you building affordable housing on that site?
So they, right now, it's in this, so the description of the proposed brownfield site, to advance the Ferry Street Mill Development Project. There's 3 priority brownfield sites. Before they can even tear those buildings down, they have to remove all of the substances, and then they will knock those down and reconstruct. I think that let's see. This is mostly about, okay, so the site's reuse will include the development of a parking lot, an estimated 89 million public and private investment into the Ferry Street Mill, a parking lot to ensure adequate parking space and smooth traffic flow, as well as climate to leverage the redevelopment of the existing turbine building for commercial use, and private investment in the Mill District.
I'm not hearing housing in there.
Let's see, I know.
Sounds like it's about.
But there, I do believe there is going to be,
He's putting affordable housing in the
the
other.
Ferry Street
building.
DIF Development District and the 121A tax agreement from 2021. Community Preservation Act funds. Blah, blah, blah. 164 new apartments, 90 of which will be deed restricted affordable.
Really?
But those are not going in, are they going in it? They can't be going in those buildings.
No, because that's 11 Ferry Street.
Well, I don't think they can build 11 Ferry Street until they've done the cleanup.
Do you want to send that to us?
I can send that. Mhm.
Okay, that'd be
I
awesome.
mean, maybe
Well, so,
that's
I
what
mean-
Peter wants to come talk to us about, but I feel like they already have their permit and their like application into EOHLC for 11 Ferry Street.
Mhm.
I feel like we would have heard about this if it was impacting
Housing,
the housing part.
but it could be.
Maybe it is.
Let's see, active negotiations for the utilization of low-income housing tax credits as part of the proposed new development, in line with the commitment to foster mixed-income residential units.
That would be the 11 Ferry Street project. Okay.
Laying the foundation for thorough and impactful transformation of Ferry Street Mills area. Blah, 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 blah. So I can send this to people if they want. if they want to see it.
Yeah, you could just send it to the whole committee and.
Yeah, and then when I confirm with Peter when he's coming to the meeting, then maybe we can ask him about this.
Yeah, so there was arsenic, lead paint, airborne health risks. I asked about the building that's already there and they said that that was sealed up, I think. Rather than,
There's so many buildings on that site. I have a hard
Yeah,
time
it's hard to
picturing it.
remember them all.
but it sounded like I wasn't entirely clear, and Sean O'Donnell said that I could email him at any point with any questions that I had. But what I understood was that West Mass was leasing the property for 99 years and that they would be doing the development or the brownfields. They would use the funds that they're requesting in this grant to do the brownfields cleanup. And it wasn't entirely clear to me who was then doing the development work.
Gotcha.
So, all right, I just got a visual. So like is this the cement building?
Here, let me go to, if you give me a second, I'll go to,
Turbine.
let me go to my emails and,
Because the 11 Ferry Street, there's a canal in the middle and 11's on the other side of the canal where but there's like that low cement building, then there's like something behind it. It's actually kind of an old picture though, because this building over here has already been done. I don't know what a turbine building is though.
okay, so here is,
Do you want me to do you want to share your screen?
I'm not on Google Meet.
Oh, okay.
But I can show it to you. So here's the map.
Targeted sites for cleanup, site 1, site 2, and site 3.
Yeah.
Oh, so sites 1 and 2 are on the other side of the canal. I think it looks like it.
They're all down in that area.
Yeah.
Do we keep?
164 units between 7 and 11 Ferry Street.
Do you want me to email that to you so you can share it?
Yeah, I'm just curious, like what it,
Means for 11 if now if there's like a brownfields problem. But we can ask Peter when he comes in December or January. All right, that's
Cool.
interesting. Thanks. Thank you, Donna. Any other questions about that?
would everyone like me to send a calendar invite for the city council meeting where we're presenting zoning
Yeah,
stuff?
that'd be great.
Okay.
Sure.
That'd be great.
I just sent that to you. Jen.
Okay.
Does anybody else
Do
want
like
to see
7
mine?
invites to the same meeting.
Do we have anything else to talk about?
Motion to adjourn.
What's up with the schools?
All right, let's adjourn. Yeah, okay. Joshi is seconded. All right, we're going to
Okay,
adjourn.
we'll
the
move
meeting.
that to December.
It's 7:19. We're going to adjourn. Kayam and Max have a lovely time in.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.